Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Hi there, it's Danny with something completely new that we're going to do here at DannyClinkscale.com and the Reasonably Irreverent podcast from time to time, maybe more than time to time. It's DC MiniPOD, and we're going to take a subject that pops up and doesn't fit in maybe to the template or the timing of some of the things we usually do here. And this one in particular will be presented by Easton Roofing, one of my fine sponsors, one of my long-standing sponsors, one of my top sponsors, to say the least. And we'll be doing these every now and then. And, of course, this one becomes a timely first one, although I've done a couple of mini-pods in the past, because Les Miles was let go as the head coach of Kansas. And, of course, it came after Monday Musings. Danny's sports wrap had already been taped. So we'll talk about the Les Miles situation in brief coming up next, right after this. I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing, and boy, we had to negotiate a million things in 2020, but Easton Roofing navigated them all. As 2021 rolls out, what should we expect this coming storm season?
Well, Danny, it'll be the same thing as it is every year. The storms come, and you've got the guys out knocking on doors offering quote-unquote free inspections. Be wary as a homeowner. If somebody's knocking on your door, they probably need the work, and if they need the work that bad, they may be willing to do something untoward to get it. So if somebody knocks on your door, says they want to give you a free inspection, just tell them have a great day and give us a call. We'll come out for free and give you a good, honest opinion as to whether or not you need to do anything at all with your roof.
And what's the best way to get in touch with Easton Roofing?
You can always find us online at eastonroofing.com or give us a call at 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing, integrity matters. Welcome back. In the Les Miles era at the University of Kansas will be just 2 years, as Jeff Long and Miles released statements late Monday night, saying that the two are parting ways, I guess, amicably, but they each decided to go their separate ways. There is no firing per se, but pretty much is. And, of course, it comes in the wake of reports that came out from LSU. There was a report back in 2013, but that wasn't released publicly, and then a revisit of it that was just released publicly talks about the behavior of Les Miles while the head coach at Louisiana State University. Basically, this is based on things that happened back around 2013 or so, where staffers in the LSU department, I'm sure you know the details by now, female staffers reported various levels of uncomfortable behavior by Les Miles, to the point where he was ordered by his athletic director not to be around women in the program who were working for him. There's also reports that Les Miles wanted to create positions for attractive women in the program, all kinds of unseemly behavior, which in some reports rose to the level of kissing one of the young women. Les Miles has denied that. That really was never confirmed. He was never actually accused and or convicted and or charged with sexual harassment, but certainly the behavior was more than unseemly, and now it has resulted in Kansas feeling it rose to the level that they will remove him as the coach. It seemed that Jeff Long was dragging his feet a little bit. I don't know whether he was trying to test the waters, gather more information, or what, but now he will get the job, apparently, of hiring a new head football coach at the University of Kansas. He's probably lucky that he gets that opportunity. There's more than a couple of calls for Jeff Long to pay the price for this. His tenure at the University of Kansas, which isn't very long, has included a lot of different things: losing strength coaches, assistant athletic directors deciding to retire, all kinds of things that have gone on, but mainly a botched hiring process with Les Miles, a longtime friend of his, and seemingly a laser-focused hire on Les Miles that perhaps didn't go into the due diligence. Either Les Miles was hired by Jeff Long knowing about this particular behavior, and he hired him anyway, or he didn't know about something that he certainly should have done more due diligence about. I've talked about this on various platforms, and the fact that he was in the SEC at the time as the athletic director at Arkansas, and he obviously would go to meetings and things like that, and situations like this are often talked about off the record, or whispers are heard, or anything like that. Certainly it should have risen to the level where they would should dig in deep. He didn't really use a hiring firm, which ordinarily is kind of a joke to me and a waste of money. But in some cases, it gives you an independent voice, and somebody like that has their reputation, their money, their company on the line. So they're going to dig in maybe more than you are. And so Les Miles was hired anyway, and now they have to fire him. And it leaves Kansas in obviously yet another difficult situation, as they have now got another hiring process to do, and it comes after you go down the road of Turner Gill and then Charlie Weiss and then David Beatty and then Les Miles. So now we'll be on to the fifth hiring since Mark Mangino was run off, and at the time it seemed like maybe there was enough cause to think about the fact that Mark Mangino was running the program in a way that a lot of people wouldn't see as up to the standards of the day as far as treating players and so on and so forth, but it was probably as much rooted in the fact that Mark Mangino wasn't particularly well-liked within the athletic department, and they had started to lose games as well. But this is going to be a very difficult hire for Jeff Long. Certainly there are a whole lot of people out there who are not going to want to have anything to do with this particular position, and what you have to do is find a young coach who seizes it as an opportunity, who perhaps is somebody like, I've heard Nate Bucati on WHB, my former cohort, talking about Kevin Kane, who recently has been named the associate head coach at the University of Illinois. He had been the defensive coordinator at SMU. He had climbed the coaching ladder, former linebacker at KU, somebody with ties to the program, somebody with a coaching resume that probably wouldn't be interested in a job like the University of Kansas unless he went to the University of Kansas. And maybe that is a potential road that could be gone down by Jeff Long, an opportunity that he might not have in any other setting to get a bright young coach who has some ties to the program, who, as I said, if this was the University of Oregon or Washington State or whatever, not the University of Oregon, that's a great job, but Washington State or some job attuned to that, he'd go nowhere near it under these particular circumstances, but maybe he now will. The one thing we know is that Kansas football has been a mess, and it's been a mess for a long, long time. Les Miles tied with Vanderbilt for the worst record the last 2 years, and when you're tied with Vanderbilt in anything regarding football, then certainly that is not good business. No wins last year, a big rebuilding job, but by all accounts, there is some talent in the program. And maybe that will provide some appeal for the likes of Kevin Kane or somebody else as Kansas once again tries to lift itself out of the very, very bottom of college football, historically bad for over a decade now. And we'll see what the next steps are, but the last step was a misstep. Jeff Long presided over it, and this is undoubtedly his last chance to prove himself as the Kansas athletic director, and we shall see how he will do.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Klink Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klink Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.